Straight ahead, a bear of a battle. Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles compete for Chicago's starting job. Plus, for the first time, Bill O'Brien talks since trading DeAndre Hopkins. KD virtually back in the game. The competition pitting NBA superstars against each other from the safe and social distancing of their homes. And ready, aim, misfire. Olbermann with the not top 10 first pitches on SportsCenter.
Just a bit outside.
What up, everybody? It's KD.
Anything's possible!
Hey there, great to be back on SportsCenter. Seated exactly 6 feet apart from Zubin Mehenti, I'm Steve Levy. Friday was scheduled to be LSU's pro day. Not that Joe Burrow needed it. We'll get some NFL draft talk later, but we need to acknowledge the real first-round picks out there. A nightly nod, Zubin, to the doctors, nurses, and EMTs.
Well said. Everyone on the front line, thanks for everything you've done and you continue to do. Now, most Americans are stuck indoors, and many have passed the time playing video games, no different for NBA superstars or Steve's kids. We've got 16 of the best gamers toggling and tussling, playing NBA 2K with a $100,000 coronavirus charitable donation going to the last player standing.
Toggling and tussling. We begin with the 1-16 matchup. No way we see an upset in the first round, right? The 1 seed is Kevin Durant. He chose the LA Clippers, taking on the 16 seed. Remember the controversial slam dunk champion Derek Jones Jr. of the Heat? Well, he's using the Bucks. Early in the first quarter, Durant going to the Stars. There's Kawhi. And then Dante DiVincenzo, the three from the corner to beat the buzzer. 3-point game after the first. Durant's Clippers in the lead.
Man, get him up off you. Eddie! Oh, my gosh. That was ridiculous.
So Durant putting on the moves and then pumped up, and then the Clippers in transition. Leonard gets the feed and slams it home. The 1 seed trails by 4 heading into the half. Now the Bucks are looking for the upset here. Giannis backing his way in and the foul.
The defense was begging him to take that shot.
See, they got to stop that, too. The transition defense on here is horrible.
So reliable.
Durant and the Clippers starting to unravel. Time winding down in the third. Bucks up 13. Wes Matthews dribbles. Tough fadeaway jumper. The 1 seed Durant, the Clippers down big after 3. To the 4th. Bucks starting to pull away. Eric Bledsoe hits the 3. Then later, Chris Middleton knocking down a corner 3. You know, each player gets to choose 8 teams he wants to play with. Who chose the Knicks? That's what I want to know. It's Middleton again. The 1 seed Durant and his Clippers fall to Jones Jr. and his Bucks. The 16 seed does beat the 1. Durant, get out.
I'm guessing they're still available, the Knicks, Steve. We haven't seen KD in a regular game since the 2019 finals. We'll move on. Trae Young, number 2 seed, taking on Harrison Barnes. The rankings were determined right around March 11th through the regular standings when these guys get together and play all the time. So we got the Bucks and the Raptors. Moving ahead to the second quarter, Giannis in transition. OG Anunoby may want to get out of the way here. You'll see a little more of these games later on in SportsCenter, Steve, and then next Sunday, or a couple days from now, next Tuesday and the next Saturday would be the championship. Marvin Williams is eventually going to hit the open 3 after the dunk here. And eventually, you'll get a listen to the ensuing inbound and possession. All these games on ESPN, ESPN2, and the NBA social channels.
It's going that way. Taking charges over here, Harrison.
Yeah, this how you know I'm trash right now.
Very relaxed, though. Young and the Bucks take down Barnes and the Raptors 101-59. Hope he had the over. Wow. And the favorite, yeah.
159.
DeAndre Ayton and Zach LaVine, their matchup coming a little bit later in the old 7-10 matchup.
People really betting these games? Does Vegas have a line on this stuff? Probably.
More 2K on the way, including Ayton and LaVine. Hang tight here on SportsCenter.
All right, to the NFL and how we all long for a quarterback controversy or just craving any kind of competition. The Bears will have that at quarterback. The incumbent Mitchell Trubisky trying to hold off the recently acquired Nick Foles, who struggled with injuries during his 1 season in Jacksonville. Well, now it's game on in Chicago.
When we walk out on the first day, whenever it is, whether it's OTAs or whether it's training camp, Mitch will be going first in the huddle. And those guys know that. That's not news to them. I can promise you this: it's going to be completely fair. It's going to be extremely competitive in a good way. It's going to be a healthy competitiveness. What we're trying to do is what's best for the Chicago Bears.
Mitch and I have already talked, and, we want to start out on the right foot because ultimately it's about the Chicago Bears. It's not about the ego of the quarterbacks. The quarterback competition becomes such a big thing in the NFL, which, it is. Quarterback's an important position, but ultimately going in there and doing our jobs and supporting each other. And, the guy who can lead the team will lead the team. And no matter who that is, like if it's Mitch, I'm going to be there to support Mitch. And I know that if it's me, Mitch will be there to support me.
Joined now by Adam Schefter. And Schefter, no one can be sure when these NFL training camps will open, or even if they will open. But when they do, sounds like we'll have a spicy quarterback competition, at least if not controversy, with the Bears in Chicago. Is this just a traditional case of a veteran being brought in to push a younger player, or is there more to it than that?
No, Steve, this is a case where the Bears knew they had to find somebody to challenge Mitchell Trubisky, who played better as last year went on. But clearly the fans wanted some sort of change. And the Bears looked into a lot of different quarterback alternatives and ultimately decided that with an offseason that will go away, there'll be no offseason activities, no mini camps, none of that. The Bears went for a quarterback, Nick Foles, who's worked with Matt Nagy before, who's worked with their other assistant coaches like John DeFilippo and Bill Lazor. And so they think that Nick Foles can hit the ground running, challenge Mitchell Trubisky, who will get the first snap, the first rep as the Bears starter whenever they do open training camp. But they're calling it an open competition. And the truth of the matter is the players will watch the quarterbacks and they'll know who's winning it.
Ryan Pace, the GM of the Bears, he'll be forever tied to Trubisky for moving up in that 2017 draft. So I think he would like to see him succeed and Foles just be the backup, but we'll see how that shakes out. So Pace and 31 other general managers are attacking this draft like no other draft we have seen. How different is this for NFL league personnel people?
Steve, there's a tremendous amount of uncertainty even right now. And obviously, we're facing much more significant issues in our country. But the fact of the matter is, in talking to multiple front offices, they don't know where they're going to be drafting. They don't know whether they're going to be doing it in their own homes, in a conference room of a closed-down hotel, or in their training facility. Everybody would like to do it in their training facility, but the NFL has said that if one team can't do it in California or New York or Louisiana, or wherever the pandemic is bad and there are federal guidelines and state mandates that they can't open the buildings, then every team will have to draft at an alternative location. It's created a lot of uncertainty, a lot of chaos, and teams are trying to figure out where they're going to be drafting when there are no answers, and we don't know when there are going to be answers, and yet the draft is now in less than 3 weeks.
And those guidelines, as you say, could be X amount of people in a room. That number could change. And you might want to change the people in the room based on where you're drafting and thinking offense or defense in that spot. That's crazy.
I had one general manager tell me that he was at his house today working, and the internet went out. He couldn't get his picks in. He couldn't communicate like that. Can you imagine that would happen if some team's on the clock and the GM's trying to get the pick in and he's got no internet? There's a problem with his service that night?
You have to forfeit your pick. Imagine that. Somebody forfeits a pick because of the internet going down. Hey, it's going to be a wild next 3 weeks leading up to the NFL draft. That's Adam Schefter. Take care of you and yours, pal.
Thanks, Dave. Be well.
So that Bears quarterback competition, we'll call it, Foles and Trubisky, they both have the exact same total QBR. Think about that over the last 3 seasons. When you dig a little deeper into the data, Foles seems like the better option. Neither really pushed the ball downfield. Foles has been much more accurate than Trubisky. Foles has been off target on 15% of his throws the last 3 seasons. That's 6th best. Trubisky, 20% off target in that time, ranks 38th. This is really evident when the receivers open. According to next-gen stats, Foles has thrown an off-target pass on an NFL best 5% of his passes to open receivers. Trubisky doubled that at 10%, which ranks 31st in the league. Because of the accuracy, Foles has a completion percentage 2 points better than expectation over the last 3 seasons, according to the NFL next-gen stats. That takes into account how difficult the throw is, how open the receiver is, ranks 7th in the NFL. Trubisky's completion percentage is over 1 percentage point lower than expectation, ranking 29th.
If the Bears make it to the playoffs, I know which quarterback I want. We'll see who delivers. Speaking of, the Pats calling it their most important delivery, the team airplane transporting over 1 million N95 masks from China to the United States. The Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker obtained the masks, but he couldn't find a way to transport them to America. And that's where the Pats and their plane stepped in. Really well done. Meanwhile, Armstrong Stadium at the Billie Jean King National Tennis Center in New York, home of the U.S. Open, will partly be turned into a hospital. The area will also serve as a food prep and distribution center that can send out 25,000